You can either take the red pill, you'll wake up, everything was a dream, or you can take the black pill, you can get torched.
Well, I suppose getting torched won't hurt that much. I don't feel anything.
Wait for it.
Oh, wait. I just got a new client.
Get torched! Get torched! Get torched!
I'm Wayne Carey, and this is The Truth Hurts.
Well, Duck, we're back for another episode of The Truth Hurts, a special episode as well, the final, I guess, weekly episode of our first season. It's been
You happy about that or sad about that? Get your Mondays back.
It's been an interesting ride.
It has. We've made a few headlines, which has been good. Some good, some a little twisted. Certain views on some of the things that we've discussed, and but mostly positive.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, early doors, there was obviously some big conversation around your return to media. We had Dennis Pagan on, and there was some great conversations you had with Dennis. That was really interesting at the time, and that got some big coverage. But even then, it's been the more personal stuff that we've seen about you getting
a little bit of you come in here on a Monday and you've had sometimes an interesting weekend. You even came in here a couple of times. Probably shouldn't have come in off the back of what you'd got up to. So it's a good, interesting time to do it, I reckon, on a Monday.
Yeah, I mean,
the weekend's fresh.
Tried to make it a bit more about life, not just sport too, and hopefully have given everyone an insight into you as a person, not just as a media identity.
Well, I think I've had more people come up to me in the street and talk about this podcast than they did about Triple M or Channel 7.
Yep.
Now, that's probably because the people that tune in have a choice to tune in, and they want to have a listen, and so I guess it's just so it's more a choice for them. It's not like they turn on the radio and you happen to be on there, or turn on Friday night footy. So it's and that has been really positive as well. I haven't had any flog come up and be cheeky about it. A few cheeky comments about me not knowing your name and all of that, but it has been. It's been fun. I hope it's been a little bit informative, and it does give people a little bit of a snapshot about what goes on from week to week when you live in this crazy skin. In saying that, I watched the Robbie Williams documentary last night. Wow. We've spoken a lot about documentaries this year, and some of the good ones, David Beckham, we've discussed, and it's brilliant.
I haven't seen Robbie's, but I know he's been through a lot in his life,
and he just talks about the insecurities that he had before he's performing and the mental health battles that he's gone through, which is quite incredible. And that also leads us to we're going to have a bit of a chat to a GBS founder, Sean Wallace, and it's going to be
the Good Bloke Society.
In a Good Bloke Society.
So you're an ambassador.
Yep,
there.
in and around men's health, but also all health. I think there's 9 suicides a day. So it is a big issue. So we're going to have a chat to him. But Robbie Williams, he just opened up, and he had all this vision filmed over a long period of time, and then he's just put it all together. But if you had a view, it's quite amazing when you had a view about someone, and then they do these documentaries, a bit like David Beckham, the same thing with him. And I know it can be manipulated to how, especially if you're cutting it up and producing it.
Yeah.
But I just thought you had a real humbleness about Beckham, and I guess with Robbie Williams, there's a real fragility around him and his whole journey, and fragile is a really good word for it, because he just got so uptight before performing. And
I guess like you spoke about having a mask in one of our very first episodes.
Absolutely.
For him, because you watch him as this most confident entertainer.
Exactly. So no, it's fascinating listening. Actually,
He's in Melbourne next month. So this is the tour that he sold off the back of his grand final appearance.
Yeah.
Is coming around now. So I got my parents actually coming over to watch Robbie in a few weeks' time. So
I hope you shouted the tickets. Did you?
It was a Christmas present.
Well, and talking about we're coming not only off a big weekend, but a big week, the Spring Carnival. And you know what? One of the things, and I've always felt this, but it's just been strengthened over the last week. There's a lot of trickery with Melbourne Cup Week.
What?
A lot of trickery.
Wayne.
There's a lot of trickery.
Wayne.
No, look, you go to the races.
Let's not blow up the show in the last episode here.
People don't actually look like they look when they're at the races. There's a lot of trickery.
Well, I know I assume you are referring to a certain class of people. I would say there might be some trickery with yourself as well. I'm just going to go straight to a question here that we had. I would have saved this for a bit further down. This is from Rogan. Can we have a non-Hat Ayrton and Duck episode? Want to see if the Duck Mosh hairline comeback is true? And
well, have a look at this. Have a look at the Mosh is.
So there's
it's kicked. Well,
mid-year you were running the cap.
I got off the tablets for a little bit and back on the tablets and it's thickened up again.
Yep.
I'll speak to the.
There becomes a time in your journey with Mosh and others that.
Also, we did do an episode on the possum, on possums during the year as well, which people loved, and there should be an episode on when it's just time to shave it, like because you look like you got 4 daddy long legs on your head. It's just like you sometimes you just got to bite the bullet. Gary Ablett Jr., Juddy, all of these guys.
These guys, I think they look good with the shaved head. It does help.
You've actually got a baby face.
Oh, I'd need to lose a bit of weight, I reckon, if I lost the.
I actually think
grow a beard. The facial hair is a great slimmer.
There's got to be There's just a time when you've lost enough where you just bite the bullet.
Well,
I reckon you're there. Sorry,
the first episode of next year. Who knows? There may be a different.
No hat.
I'm definitely holding on. I know that.
You can get it tattooed.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've seen that.
You could get the tattooing.
I had someone talking to me. I don't think I've brought this up about how turkeys that go to. Do we talk about?
Yes. Yeah. We I think off air.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I've got a very close relative that's got. I hope this does it. Anyway, I'm not going to mention. Nobody knows.
Oh. Yeah.
Nobody can, and they can't tell.
Yep.
Either.
Yep.
So anyway, we just digress there a little bit because it has been one of those years, hasn't it? We can just go anywhere.
It has.
And do anything. And talking about the weekend and during the week, Carter got his first cup.
Jeez,
you never forget your first.
Had a big
you never forget your first
He's
cup.
had a big few weeks between his first beasting and his first cut.
Well, he got to be, yeah. He's actually, good point. It's been a cup 3 weeks where he's had something go wrong. So we're at a mate's house and he was running all day around the pool. And I was watching and the other kids there and he's running and they're running and I could just see it. You can just vision it. And I just kept saying, someone is going to slip in a minute and we're going to have stitches. I don't know how many times I said it. Anyway, it didn't happen like that. He was actually they were throwing balls to one another and he just happened to step backwards, then come down on the inside in the pool and just clipped his chin. So it could have been a lot worse. So he got a cut under there, straight to the Cabrini Hospital, and they were brilliant. They were very good because he was, fair to say he wasn't all that brave. He's 4.
Geez, you've thrown Carter under the bus a few times.
He's 4, but this is what I love. So, and I explained to him his first cut, scars. Some people like scars, and he's a good-looking little boy. And I said, don't worry, you'll be okay. And but when the nurse came, and they were really good, sensational. So it was a choice: stitch it or glue it. And I thought, well, gluing it is less needles going in. the fact that he'd had a sausage sizzle on the way to the hospital, he wasn't allowed to have the gas because he would throw up, so he would have had to wait longer. So we went with the glue, and now he had to be pinned down just for the gluing, like literally pinned, like wrapped up like a cocoon, and yeah, like the whole hospital heard him. And before he had that, we promised him, Jess and I promised him that we would get him a toy if he was brave. Right? So straight after he gets it done, he's all stitched, not glued up, got the Band-Aid on there, and you're in the car and he's going, oh, so we've got the toy. And I said to him actually the next day, I said, hey, because that's all he was talking about. Let's go to Kmart, let's get
Well, did he have some thoughts on what he wanted?
Let's get
already?
a toy. Oh, he's got a list in his head a mile long.
Yep.
So we're on our way there, and I said, "Hey, listen, do you actually think you really deserve this toy?"
No, you've broken his heart.
No, I said, "Do you actually think you were really brave, like when we're at the hospital?" And this is what I love. He looked me straight in the eye and said, "No, Daddy, I wasn't. I don't think I was brave." I said, "Now you deserve a toy."
Oh, well, at least okay. Well, there's a good.
I
bit of
like
honesty
that
there.
honesty.
Yeah, bit of self-awareness.
He realised he could have handled it a little bit better, but so he's got a big scab now under his chin. This was 7 days ago. He's already picked the scab off, so the scar's going to be worse than what it should have been. But that's what 4-year-olds do. So it was an eventful weekend and week, as I said, spring carnival. And
well, you went 3 times to the races during the week, did you?
I did.
That's
There's
a bit of effort that goes into that.
There is a lot of talk about the birdcage, and that's just become Flog City. And then,
well, you were in there, weren't you?
No. I was in the chairman's, and it was the winning.
Oh, okay. You're
and
above that. You're above it.
Oh, well, it's just a different. It's a different clientele in there than what they do in the other areas.
You haven't missed it for a decade, but you're calling them flogs.
The chairman's is without a doubt. Just a great setup. I love going up there. I love the ease of it. But I was in a couple of marquees with Matt Hill. They run big events, and that was really good too. And the reason for that, you get dropped off basically at the door, and then you get picked up at the door. So you're not having to walk through, blokes like you, riffraff, on the Bundy
flogs,
cans,
so to speak.
on the Bundy cans all day, and all of a sudden grow a bit of Dutch courage, and so you don't have to walk through all of that.
Yeah, okay. I can understand that for someone like you that might be an issue. Did you you didn't have a great start to the carnival from a tipping point of view. Did you back anything?
I backed the winner of the cup, but I had a tip on Thursday, one of those, but I don't think too many people did. Well done to Jamie Carr.
Back in form
on Stakes Day.
So
unbelievable.
So treble on Stakes Day, and she ended up having more winners across the Cup Carnival than anyone.
I know. How good.
When you consider that she could hardly buy a winner leading into the carnival, that was amazing. Just on the Cup winner, I each year my gran Esma, her name is. She's
that's a typical grandma name.
It is.
I like that.
So she's down in Hobart. She's getting close to 90 now. I think she'd be about 87 maybe. I don't want to give her an extra year because she'll pull me up on that. But she normally sends over a bit of money each year for the Melbourne Cup for me to put a bet on for her. She's not a drinker or a gambler, so this is her one bet for the year.
Yep.
So it started off about 10 years ago as $5, and then she went up to $10 for inflation. And this year she upped her stake to $20. So there's a bit of pressure on me this time. I end up going without a fight. So won her $160, which for her, she's had a few heart issues, and she texted me. She said, "I'm just trying to get my heart rate back to." I thought, "Geez, what a way that'd be." If Gran had a few issues after winning the cup, but it's amazing the different little reactions that go off in your brain after you have a winner. And so she has texted me saying, because I said, "What do you want to do with the money?" And she said straight away, "Oh, maybe you should keep it in your account and we'll go big." That were her words. We'll go big next year, as if we'll like. And she said, her message text to me said, 160 times 8 to 1 next year is like more than 1,000.
Got the bug.
So firstly, pressure on me to get it. But isn't that's what your brain does after you have a win?
That's what they say.
She did come full circle now. This is much more like her. My sister works at Movember, Now she's going to donate it to Movember. She's not going to gamble it. So, well done to Gran. She's done something with her winnings, probably more than you or I would anyway, if we have a win.
So the other thing that I got up to is I went to a big plumbers event. Kevin Sheedy has come up with this. Pretty sure it was his idea. So he's gone to some big guys, the boss of the union, Earl, and Scotty Dowser, the president of the Plumbers Association. So some big guys. So there was, I don't know exactly how many. I think there was 300 or 400 plumbers in a room on Saturday night. And Kevin Sheedy picked his best ever plumbers team that have played VFL, AFL. I'll tell you what, good team. Had some big, like Michael Tuck, obviously BT was in there, John Kennedy Jr., Sheeds had himself as coach. But they're a really, really good team, solid team.
BT rates himself as a bit of a handyman, doesn't he? He's got his big...
he was a plumber initially. Yeah. So he couldn't get to the event, which I was a bit sad about because I like BT's company. But he was named at full forward, so he'll be happy about that.
Yeah.
It's about the only rep team he's been named in as an adult. As an adult. Yeah. Because as a kid, he was the same size he is now when he was 8.
Oh, he's a man-child.
So he was the shot put champion. He was the discus thrower.
Yep.
He just won he was the best basketballer. He was the best footballer because he was just bigger.
Yes, he's thick and strong.
But then as an adult, well, everyone caught up. He did kick 100 in him.
Yeah.
No, he's a ripper, PT. I love him.
Just in case he's listening, you'll find you.
No, I do love PT. Talking about basketball, how do you say his last name? Victor
Wembanyama. You're finally on board, eh? I've only been bringing him up. Wembanyama, yeah.
Wembanyama.
Wembanyama, yeah.
Wembanyama. Wow, he's just a freakish talent. And the height, he jumps that high to dunk.
Yeah. For anyone who's listening and not looking into it, he doesn't need to jump much. That's what you're saying. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I've got my big, well, it is filmed. But at literally an inch, he has to jump to dunk it. Incredible. If he keeps his body sound.
That'll be the question for him, whether he can stay injury-free, because you think someone of that size is going to have some issues at some point. But
well, even at 6'4", and I'm 6'5" with heels, I have troubles. Some hotels, the bed's not big enough, and your feet are hanging off the end. You're obviously getting on a flight. You're not
getting in economy class.
There are all of these little issues just being my height.
Yep.
Like his life, he wouldn't be able to book into a hotel. There's not a hotel that would have a bed for him.
You wonder what those US basketball teams do. They'd have to have some custom.
Have to be, but not all hotels would deliver that, would they?
No, maybe because they've got so much money.
He would literally have to put another bed
he's huge.
at the bottom of his bed.
Yeah, he's huge and got the skills to match. No, absolute freak. I'm glad you're on board. You're only a month late, but that's okay. There was a bit of footy chatter on the weekend, or the last few days. We're getting the yearly fixture leaks that the AFL likes to drag out over a few weeks, and we get little snippets of what's going to happen next year. The ones we've got so far, I'm going to ask you about the two main ones. Thursday night footy. So we had, I believe, 10 or maybe 11 last year. Andrew Dillon, the new chief executive, has said we're going to have more, but not many more, maybe only a couple more Thursday nights in the future. I think that's a missed opportunity. I think Thursday night's one of the great nights for footy. I don't know what you think about that, but what would the players think about Thursday night footy?
Didn't like it as when I worked in the industry because it just spread the weekend out.
It was an extra night you had to work.
Yeah. As a footballer, you would absolutely love it, I would think.
Yeah.
Because just like Friday nights, well, you just lead into the weekend and, clearly you're playing Thursday, you're back training over the weekend, but you're not preparing for a game. So, for instance, if you had kids, you get to go to their sport, things that a lot of footballers don't get to do in season because of, having to play on the weekend. So, yes, 13, 14 enough. Yeah, I'm not too fussed about it.
Why not 23, 24? For me as a supporter, it just shortens the week for me. You get to Thursday and you feel like the weekend's hit.
If it's a really good game, I I do admit you do look forward to it. It's another thing to watch, you know, on the TV and free to air.
Yes. It was not.
So, you know, you're not having to.
Well, you don't have KO at home?
Yeah, I do, but you know, a lot of people out there don't have KO.
No, sorry.
So
the way you were saying it
they
was
get
like,
to watch it on free.
I thought you were
free to air.
suggesting you don't get to watch it if it's not free to air. I was like, come on, mate.
Yes, I do get to watch
The other one, from a fixture point of view, is that's been spoken about is Gather Round. So the AFL's locked in Gather Round in Adelaide. By all reports, was a big success in year one. It's interesting how it's sort of gone away from what the NRL had with Magic Round, which is what they structured it on, where they have a lot of games at the same venue over 2 days. So there might be 3 or 4 games at the same venue. So you lock in and you watch the games there. Adelaide's obviously, the South Australian government's obviously paid a lot of money and they've spread it out. I don't mind that, but the one game that stood out for me that I'm calling it a fixturing fail, you might not go as strongly as that, is Collingwood Hawthorn at the Adelaide Oval on the Sunday afternoon. I just reckon that would have been a great fixture for the G. The first time Jack Ginnivan's come up against Collingwood. I know it's not like he's...
Collingwood will still have 35,000 people at that ground.
The G, that game gets 80,000. And imagine the drama and the interest in whether he gets booed and him playing up to the crowd. I just reckon it would be a great spectacle.
I still think you'll get that at Adelaide Oval. I think you're underestimating how good that is and how many people went last year. I was a little bit of a pessimist last year. I thought that... I honestly thought that it could be a little bit of a flop. Their premier, Peter
Malinowskis.
That's it.
Yep.
You know what? Good looking, charisma, speaks well. And just every time I hear him, and I heard him this morning talking about the Gather Round, and there's a few other games at Norwood Oval. They're going to have a Norwood Wine Festival all in the Norwood area, which is a great area of Adelaide. They've obviously got games up in the Adelaide Hills, so people that go over can go and enjoy what is a beautiful wine region in Adelaide. You know, everyone knows about the Barossa, but I think it's going to be absolutely, given that they've had a hit at it and they nailed it the first time, this is going to be incredible this week. I'll be definitely going over for it. I went over last year for a game or two, but I think we've got a GBS function actually over there for the Gather Round on the Thursday or the Friday. So I'm really looking forward to it, and Adelaide can have it for as long as they want it. You can't. It's a bit like the.
You're on the AFL payroll now, are you?
No, it's a bit like the V8s. You know, they got the V8s taken. No, sorry, the Grand Prix. They got the Grand Prix taken off them.
They did lose the V8s as well. The government,
but they got it back.
Yes, yeah.
But
they're still dirty on losing the Grand Prix.
They do it well, and the South Australian people and their premier should take a bow for getting behind it and making it what it was. And like I said, that's one of the weekends that I'm really looking forward to this weekend. Next year, sorry.
I thought I'd come in with these really hard hitting cracks at the
just on a little bit of a downer.
Oh,
Patrick Smith.
Oh yes,
passed away.
Yes, so legendary journo.
Yeah, he was I'm sure he's written a lot of nice things about me and some not so nice. I would assume
he never took a backward step. So yeah, he passed away, 3-time Walkley winner. So it's a sort of top award you can get as a journo.
I will say this about Patrick and a lot of journalists from that time. So his generation, and that is they didn't, unlike a lot of journalists now, they don't put mayonnaise on it. You know, it's not sensationalism. It's not being a shock jock. He wasn't a shock jock, which we have a lot of now, and you know a lot of. A lot of things have written and said that are just nowhere near the truth. It's what they consider to be the truth, which is generally nowhere near it. But he is one that I think, you know, called a spade a shovel, you know, fearless in how he went about it, which made me think a little bit about the guys that...
Yeah, so did you have guys that you spoke to on the regular basis or...
Well, they were just guys that you liked, you know, and there were guys, you know, there were probably plenty that you didn't.
Did they have your number back then? So now...
No. Well, when I had a lot of nice things written. In actual fact, a lot of journalists have written, I think, over-exaggerated some of the things I've done on the football field. So,
but now, for instance, journalists, there's a different era. Now players are heavily media managed. Journalists would not ring players up. But back then when players might have had jobs initially or when footy was only just becoming professional, were people ringing you for information or... to clarify something, or was it by then that was already out of? out of it?
I don't know. I think a lot of footballers, and still today, it's like it's ingrained in us not to like journalists.
Yeah. So
You
you
know,
just
and
wouldn't answer them.
not trust.
Yep.
We don't trust journalists. We just we think that if we say something, then it's going to get misrepresented, misquoted, whatever. You'll put your spin on it. And then the other thing is the headline that they put with it has nothing to do with what you've actually said in the article or in the conversation. So it did bring me back. Guys like Scotty Palmer, he was just a lovable guy that everyone I think loved speaking to. I don't think there would have been a player that didn't mind.
So keep on punching. That was his
Yes,
go-to, wasn't it?
Mike Sheehan is the godfather of, in my opinion, all journalists. He's like the print journo. He's the Bruce McAvaney of print.
Yep.
For me.
Yep.
And
I don't think many people would argue that.
And you just had a trust around Mike. There's another guy, a little bit obscure, who's more of a cricket writer that I always liked, was Ken Peace.
Kenny Peace, yeah.
Kenny Peace.
Yeah.
Well,
Had a bit to do with him early on.
you just trusted him.
Yep.
And that's a word that, you
Lovely guy, very
Don't
enthusiastic
associate.
guy, and loves his cricket. Absolutely, he's written a lot of cricket books.
He has. So better known for cricket, but he was a lovely lovely man. So anyway, condolences to Patrick Smith, his family. He made a big contribution to our game.
Absolutely. Speaking of cricket, there, good segue, unplanned, but we've watched closely Glenn Maxwell's last few weeks. He's initially falling off the back of the golf cart and maybe raising a few eyebrows there into the most crazy double hundred. You've had a bit to you've crossed paths with Glenn, haven't you?
I have. I played golf with him, actually. He's a brilliant golfer.
Yeah, he's
Brilliant golfer.
He's a gun, a bit like Ricky Ponting.
Just
He's got that cross.
hits it an absolute mile, he does. That was it. He actually played a cricket innings like he was playing golf.
Yeah,
That's what it, his hand-eye is as good as anyone's, I think, that we've seen. Guys like Gilchrist and these guys that can, really hit a ball, Matty Hayden when he was in form, but just the way, even the way he was standing because of the cramps and then just flicking it and, freakish.
Yeah, insane talent. I mean, hand-eye coordination for that. Like I try and hit a single on the weekend and you barely get bat on ball and he's just hitting blokes with...
What'd you make on the weekend?
I made 8.
Oh, so you made 5 and 8.
It was.
See, no, I remember. You made 5 and 8.
Is there a more frustrating sport than cricket?
Well, not if you're making tons.
Yeah, okay, so you just went out and whacked tons every week, did you?
Well, when I played kill or force,
Yeah. What frustrated me the most is, and it's always like this when you play cricket, I reckon. So
what number are you, by the way? What number batsman?
I'm anywhere between 3 and 5.
Probably time you got dropped down the order. Come on. You can't have that sort of form. In actual fact, maybe even dropped, full stop.
Well, 34 in the first week, so that's maybe hold me on. But I was the opening bowlers who I thought were bowling quite well were just getting towards the end of their spells. And this opening bowler had 2 balls left in his spell when he got me. The next over, this little off spinner's come on bowling half trackers.
Excuse me, little sneeze.
Bowling half trackers.
Bless you, duck.
It was time for me to feast, and I was out. Not as bad as in our actually third grade on the weekend. It was a tie, so very rare in cricket. We needed 16 off the last over. One of the guys hit 6-4-6. Needed 2 off 2 single. Final
So
ball.
you snuck a tie.
Final ball. Bezo, good man he is, one of the elder statesmen of the team. He'd be upset with this. He would have had a few sleepless nights. He just need to get bat on ball.
So he wasn't the one that hit all the runs.
No, then he's got the single and he's on strike.
He just needed to get bat on.
Just don't get out. Don't get out. And unfortunately, he got bowled with the bottom of the leg stump. So we thought we were going to pull off this most amazing victory. Not as bad as the Sunshine Coast threes on the weekend. I saw this on Twitter last night. I could not believe it. So they were cruising. They were like 4 for 170 something. I was trying to find the scorecard before, but I haven't been able to find it. But anyway, they needed 1 run to tie 2 to win. They lost 6 for none.
6 for none.
6 wickets in and over. It was 5 first ballers. So 5 first ballers
That's got to be a record.
Unbelievable.
So 5 golden ducks.
Correct. So this bloke has come in and just tore my butt off. It got me thinking about biggest sporting collapses, and I wish I'd given you some notice on this. It did made me think of one sporting collapse. Just came to my attention, just my mind straight away.
Oh, here we go. What, the 98 grand final?
No, not the 98 grand final. It did involve North Melbourne.
Oh, yes, against the Bombers.
Yeah.
I didn't play.
Yeah, I know you said that.
Yeah, well, if I'd played, that wouldn't have happened.
Phenomenal game, that one. I think it was like 170 to 100 and huge
Yeah,
game. Anyway,
it's the biggest comeback ever.
Yeah, so sorry. I like bringing those little ones in there, seeing as you like getting into Essendon from time to time. Got a bit of feedback. Obviously saw in the Herald Sun your underbelly links and your kittens, baby cats reference. I did get a few messages from blokes who occasionally try and sneak in there saying, fancy talking about that on air. What are you blowing my cover for, you blokes? And the missus will be, This is from Willie Wanker. I saw Duckett Kittens twice in about 2018. The first time he was spastic drunk. He had a babysitter who had to keep him out of trouble, and he nearly got in a fight. Mind you, it was 1 a.m. on a Friday. And
he got in a fight.
And he'd done Friday night footy. The next time on a Tuesday, he turned up there and we were having a good chat and he redeemed himself.
Stop exaggerating, please.
Do you have a minder back in the day? Did you have a minder?
Oh, it's probably a mate.
Yeah. So the club,
That's what mates do. They look after you.
So North Melbourne would have never gone. You need a chaperone, Wayne. When you,
I wouldn't have thought so.
I notice over in the US they do that with some guys. They send them out.
I probably should have had.
This is from Peter H. On Pikey, your man Martin Pike, last man to win the Club BNF at Fitzroy. Many, many stories surrounding this one-of-a-kind player, ... And when you get the ... there's always a bit of a suggestion of some shenanigans. So,
well, he'll be on next year.
Yeah, so I really look forward to that. We're already working on a guest list for next year, and Martin Pike is very, very close to the top. Still, just on kittens, sorry, I had one more. It's from Simon. Great podcast, guys. On the kitten subject, it is said it is easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. So,
in other words, go.
Go. So I think that's good. I think that's good advice. Maybe advice that you've followed in the past. I would say at different times. We thank everyone for the year who's written in. We've had some amazing feedback, haven't we, Wayne?
Well, when we started this, we didn't really know what we were doing, did we? That's why we
those first episodes were not really podcasting.
Well, that's why we we're torched. We've done an amazing job.
Yeah, so we've got Ben here at the moment who's done a great job with all the technical stuff and he's taken on a bigger role. Also, Brandon who was really enthusiastic in getting this off the ground. So we think both of those guys who've played a huge role.
Terry and Vicky, obviously, who played a role as well. So Torched have been right behind us. And what we have been surprised massively with is the numbers.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't think this many people would want to listen to you, to be honest.
Well, we didn't really. We just had no idea. But you've gone and had a look. I've never watched a show back. I've never listened to a show back. I'm not that guy. I've never watched. Yeah, I probably have watched a couple of. I have probably
games.
No, people have put on YouTube before. I've seen myself in a few highlights, But I've never watched a TV show back.
Just before we get to
and I noticed a few people put up on my Twitter during the week about when I was on Perfect Match.
Yes, that came up again.
Yeah. And with the headline, me predicting my future. Yeah. The thing that a lot of people don't know is I actually won the date.
Yes.
She picked number 2. And do you know why she picked number 2?
Why?
She had a mum in the crowd.
Oh, yes, I remember.
Saying, pick number 2, number 2.
I remember. Do you think, just on watching highlights, do you think if someone now has a good game, if Jack Ginnivan has a good game, do you reckon he goes home and watches
Why do you always use Jack as an example?
Because he was one we mentioned earlier.
I think there would be plenty of players that would play a good game and be you know what happens? Well, I'll tell you what. This is what happens when they play a good game. They're the first one in there looking at their video with one of the coaches. Oh yeah. They're the first one in there. When they play not such a good game, they're probably not so quick to beat.
So you have great access to vision now, and even just with KO or whatever, you can go back and watch the game as soon as you get home. So you're telling me, I mean, you probably had less access to it. So
I never went home and watched. What do you mean? I was straight out. I never went home after a game.
That's a fair. It's a fair.
Well, it's not a fair call. It's the truth.
Yes, and in fairness, you've got it in your mind.
Yeah,
you would have been pretty happy with yourself. Anyway, we're just on some of the numbers. We don't want to give away all our secrets in terms of our data, but this surprised me when we had a look at the sort of aggregated data for the year. So more than 600,000 individual downloads / views on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube this year, which that's a fair bit, more than 500,000. Yep. And then on places like TikTok, where we send out these little bites, your headline grabbers, so to speak, more than 4 million views on TikTok. I was astounded by that. And that's not even counting all the other socials that Torched have got us on, the guys there, Ben and Brandon. So, it's been bigger.
It's been good. So we do seem to have a loyal listening base now, which is awesome. I've had a lot of fun doing it this year, and like I said, we've got to call out a few dingbats that have just made stuff up, and we've got to talk about plenty of things and show a side of us that I guess you weren't able to show when you were on.
That's what
different media formats, and that was a part of doing it. And I've seriously had a lot of fun, and there hasn't been one Monday where I've actually, unlike yourself, where I've felt I've got to go and do that again today. So we're going to have a little break, but we're definitely coming back next year. So look forward to that. And as we said, everyone at Torched, it's been quite amazing. But we do have a little bit of other content coming up. I'm having a chat to Sean Wallace from the GBS about men's health, suicide, a few things coming up. We've got some really good charity events in and around that space. A few walks, 9-hour walks in different cities and things like that, because there are 9 suicides a day.
And we've also got your documentary, your mini doco you've been working on too.
Yeah, well, when I had my shoulder done, Ben was kind enough, Ben from Torch, who we've just discussed, was kind enough to come in and film the gory operation and put together a really cool little documentary about, I guess, the pros and cons of playing AFL footy, and then the end result of having a shoulder replacement. And it's come up really well. So we'll put that out over the next couple of weeks.
Certainly look forward to that. Well, to all our listeners and viewers, thanks again for tuning in. It's been a pleasure, and we hope to see you soon on The Truth Hurts, Duck.
Hooroo.
You can either take the red pill, you'll wake up, everything was a dream, or you can take the black pill, you can get torched.
Well, I suppose getting torched won't hurt that much. I don't feel anything.
Wait for it.
Oh, wait. I just got a new client.
Get torched! Get torched! Get torched!